Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Erin, and today we are going to be looking at my mid-year inventory. I didn't do a strict inventory at the beginning of the year. I did a makeup collection, so I will have that one linked down below. But I have tracked all of my empties and all of my purchases in my series that I call Buys and Buys. Again, that will be linked down below, but I wanted to go over, I guess, an overview of my numbers, how they have changed, and also I will be popping up pictures of my items. Typically, each quarter at the end of my buys and buys, I have been doing a recap of how my numbers have changed over that quarter. But because some of you did ask for a mid year inventory, I figure I would go ahead and roll that segment and also my photos into one video and put it out in this format. So, without any more rambling, let's go ahead and get into my numbers. So again, I'm not going to go over the specifics of what I have brought in and what I have used up. I have my buys and buys for that. So if you're interested, if you want a snapshot of it, I post all of that on my Instagram in photo format. But if you want more of a long format, I do have videos for that every single month. But let's start at the very top of my spreadsheets, and I have my primers. So at the very beginning of the year, I did start with 8. During the first quarter, I panned 2 and didn't bring any in. So going into April, I had 6 primers. During this past quarter, I did use up 3. I didn't declutter any, I didn't purchase any, so I am currently at 3 primers. And I will have those pop up on the screen. So I have an e.l.f. pore filling primer, the e.l.f. jelly pop primer, which is my last one, so I have been holding on to it. And then I have the Essence Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer as well. So those are the only 3 primers in my collection. So next we will go on to foundations. This number is fluctuating a little bit because I did have some mystery like Franken foundations, but ultimately I started out the beginning of the year with 7. I panned 2 foundations at the beginning of the year. That left me with 5 rolling into April. I did declutter those 2 mystery foundations this past quarter, and I have not used up any. I'm actually using up a very large foundation, so it's going to take me a little while to get that one used up. But with those 2 going out of my collection with the declutter, I do currently have 3 foundations. I have my NARS Soft Matte, the Shiseido Synchro Skin, and a Misha BB Cream. So those are my 3 foundations that I have currently. Next would be the category that I consider mixers, and so I have a couple foundation products in there that I use to either lighten or darken my foundations, and then also you'll see whenever the picture pops up and when I describe the items. But I started this year with 5. I did purchase 1 in the first quarter. So that left me with 6 at the beginning of April. I did pan 1 and purchase 1, so that still leaves me at 6. Now when I pop up the picture, you're only going to see 5, and that's because there are 2 tubes of the NYX Bear With Me tint in that airless pump. And so I have the Rimmel Matte BB Cream, I have the NYX Bear With Me, I have an e.l.f. Hydrating Drops, I have the Drunk Elephant Debronzy Drops in a mini size, and then I have the e.l.f. Halo Glow filter. So again, a lot of these I use to mix into my foundations to adjust the shade or coverage, and so this is why I call these my mixers. So over the course of the year, even though I have used some up, my category did go up by 1. Next is my powders, and I started the year with 7. If you looked at my collection video, I don't think that I had my Makeup Forever powder foundation included in with my numbers because I always kept that in my purse, so it's not really in my collection, but I did pull that out for this video here. So I started with 7, I panned 1, that left me with 6 at the beginning of April. I was able to pan 2 additional powders in the second quarter, so that leaves me with 4. So actually in the picture, because I'm taking the pictures a little bit early, I have the loose powder off to the side. I anticipate using that one up by the end of June, and so that one is my second empty for the second quarter. So my four powders would be the two from Nakia Joy, the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and then my Makeup Forever powder foundation. So those will be my four powders that I'm rolling into the third quarter with. With my concealers, I started off the year with five. Now, I did consider, I had the Clinique Even Better foundation and concealer in one. I did consider that a concealer because that is how I used it. So that was that was actually my one concealer that I panned at the beginning of the year. So first quarter, I panned one. That left me with four concealers rolling into April. I was able to use up two more concealers, and that leaves me with, let's see here, and I purchased one, so that leaves me with three. And again, same thing with these pictures. The Bobbi Brown in the pot, I anticipate using that up by the end of June. There's so little left in that. I'm sure you'll see it in my Project Pan video with that being finished. So going forward into the third quarter, I'm only going to have the NYX Bear With Me concealer, the Catrice True Skin, and also the Bobbi Brown corrector stick. So those are my three concealers that I'm rolling into the third quarter with. For SPFs, I started the year with three. I panned one, so I rolled into the second quarter with two. I did pan one SPF, and I did purchase two, and so I'm rolling in with three. So I have my Paula's Choice Resist, which is the SPF that I'm using currently. Then I did get the Laneige in my FabFitFun, and I got the Supergoop in a Sephora kit. And so these are my three SPFs, and I think that this should last me until the end of the year, so I am stocked up. So hopefully I don't need to bring any other SPFs into my collection until the end of the year. For brows, I started off the year with six. I did pan one and purchase one at the beginning of the year, so that rolled me into April with six as well. I was able to pan three, and I purchased one, and so that is rolling me in with four. And on the picture, you're going to see the brow pencil all the way off to the side, the $1 billion brow. Again, that one is probably going to be used up by the end of June. And so if I'm looking at my four products that I'm going to be rolling into the second quarter, that is the ABH brow pencil, the two ABH gels, and the e.l.f. Wow Brow. So for bronzers, these numbers are a little bit off from my collection, mainly because I ended up coming home and working from home full time. And when I did, I brought some makeup home from my office. And this was makeup that was not really counted in my collection before. And so I did have a bronzer at my office that I brought home with me. So technically I had 8 bronzers at the beginning of the year. I did pan one, and so that left me with 7 bronzers at the beginning of April. I was able to pan 2 during the second quarter, and then I did purchase one. So I'm going in with 6 bronzers for the third quarter. I have my one cream bronzer, which is my Soul Body cream bronzer from ColourPop. In the Makeup Geek compacts, I have the 2 light shades from the Juvia's Place Duo. I have my Franken bronzer that I'm using in my Project Pan right now. Repressed in the number 7 compact is the bronzer that I brought home from work, mixed with something else that I'll tell you later on in the video. And then I did purchase the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer recently. So those are the 6 bronzers in my collection. So for blush, I do keep all of my blushes in the same spreadsheet, but I do have them split up over 2 photos just because of the amount of blush that I have. And so I started the year with 23 because there was a blush in the bronzer duo that I was keeping at work. So now I'm counting that one in my collection. So I started out with 23. I did declutter one blush, and I purchased one blush during the first quarter, which that left me again at 23. I was able to pan 2 blushes this past quarter, which is amazing, but I did bring in one blush in that Sephora kit, and so that leaves me with 22 blushes going into the third quarter. And I don't necessarily count pans of blush, and so there's going to be a whole lot more blush than what I'm saying. But I have my Hourglass Ghost palette, which has 4. Then I have 3 full sizes from Hourglass. I have a Jouer Duo. I have a ColourPop, I Need Space. I have the shade Desire from Makeup Geek, the Ofra Chicklet, which I did repress. In my palette down there, I have a Physicians Formula blush, and then I have a mini of NARS Orgasm. I do have the blush from e.l.f. that's in Fiji. That's the one from the duo that I brought home from work. I have the 4 blushes from Essence, and then I have the Clinique Heather Cheek Pop, Benefit Dallas, and then I have my duo that is in my face palette from Pat McGrath and Bridgerton. So those are all of my powder blushes. And if we go over to my next one of these cream blushes is not counted in my collection, and because it's almost an extension of my Franken blush. So the blushes that are actually like, you can buy them from the store, would be the ColourPop blush stick, and that's in Pretty Thing, I believe. Then I have the Milani Cheek Kiss liquid blush in Cheeky Coral. I have the mini of the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer blush, and I think that's in Provence. And then I have my main Franken blush that I have in my deck of panning right now. And then the offshoot to that is another cream blush where I basically had taken some other products and mixed them together. And that's where I'm mixing my current empty lip products, because I don't want to add any weight to my Project Pan blush, if that makes any sense. But technically those 2 creams that are in the pan, those are considered my Franken blush, and so those are considered one in my collection, but for my panning and for my measurements, I'm keeping them separate. So next we have highlights, and I did start with 8 at the beginning of the year. I was not able to pan any, so I started off April with 8 as well. I did pan 1 blush during the second quarter, so I'm going in with 7. And so looking at my picture, I am missing one of my Fenty blushes, or my Fenty highlighters, I'm sorry, because I did Franken those into 2 of the pans of the Tarte palette. So technically, I have a Fenty highlighter mixed into that Tarte palette. So basically, I have the one highlighter from the Bridgerton collection. I have the Tarte palette that has the 4 different shades. I have 2 Fenty highlighters. I have 1 Becca highlighter, and then down at the bottom is a mini of the Hourglass highlighter. And you'll see that half of that is missing, and that's because half of that is mixed in with that other Franken bronzer. When I do actually repress my big pan of bronzer, probably in the next month or so, the one that's in my project pan, I'll probably mix in the other half of this highlighter into that just to get this one used up. It was not my favorite formula, and really it was so subtle that I didn't see a point in putting it on my cheeks, so I'm happy to mix it in with a bronzer and just create a glowy bronzer for the summer. So for my setting sprays, I did start off the year with 8. I was able to use 1 up in the first quarter, so that rolled me into 7 for the second quarter. I did use up 2 setting sprays this second quarter, and so we are looking at 5, and these are my 5 right here. I'm currently using one of the e.l.f. Ones at the end. You can tell the bottle's discolored from me having my grubby makeup hands on it, but I do have 2 of the Gerard Cosmetics puppy dog noises. He's gonna go lay down. So I do have 2 of the Gerard Cosmetics sprays, and then 2 of the Dewy Coconuts that are kind of in my backups. So for lip products, I did start the year with 12 lip products, and you'll see in my picture I combine my lip products. Oh, he wasn't comfortable in here, so he's going out the other way. But I do combine them all together. So in the first quarter, I was able to pan 2 lip products, but I did bring 2 in, so that left me with 12 in April as well. I was able to pan an additional 2 lip products this quarter, and I did bring in 1, and so that leaves me with my 11 lip products. So if I put up my picture, I have my lipstick from Marc Jacobs. I think this is in Infamous, if I'm not mistaken. I have one of the e.l.f. lipsticks, and that's in Dirty Talk. I have the Pat McGrath lipstick in Fembot. I have the Makeup by Mario, like really dewy, lip product. It's in like the bronze glow or something like that. That one came in the Sephora kit. I have a lipstick from Clinique that I got free with a set. I have the Too Faced Hangover Pillow Balm in Banana. I have the Hourglass Confession lipstick in If Only, an Essence Shine, and I forget what shade this is in, but it's a really pale pink with shimmer. I have one of the Sephora Click lip products. Then I have two from Laneige. My next category is lip liners. And so I started the year with 3 lip liners. I didn't use up any in the first quarter, but I was able to finish my ColourPop Little One lip liner this second quarter. And I didn't bring any new ones in, so I only have 2 lip liners in my collection. They are both from ColourPop, and I will put them on the screen. They are in Another Round, and I had to reach behind me and check. It's in Another Round and Oh Snap. Those are the 2 lip liners that I currently have in my collection. Next, we have mascaras. I started the year with 7. I do include my minis and trial sizes in this number, so I started with 7. I did pan 2 at the beginning of the year. That rolled me into April with 5. And then I panned 1, I decluttered 2, and I brought 2 in. So that leaves me with 4 mascaras going into the next quarter. So I have 2 full sizes of the Sephora Big Volume mascara. I love this mascara. So right now that's the one that I have open, and then I have one that's still in the wrapper. Then I have a mini of the Clinique High Impact and a mini of the Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof. Eyeliner is another exciting category that has gone down. So I started off the year with 22. I was able to pan 2 eyeliners at the beginning of the year. I did declutter 1. So that rolled me into April with 19. With that, I did pan 1 more eyeliner, and I ended up purchasing 1. And so that still rolls me into the next quarter with 19 eyeliners. So I love colorful eyeliners. I love having a pop of color on my lash line or even underneath. And so I do have quite a few from Urban Decay. I have one from ColourPop, a few from Makeup Geek. Whenever I made an order, they threw those in for free. And then I have 4 from NYX, 1 from the Sephora line. I have the Wet n Wild highlighting brightener that I actually use in my inner rim. I have a Laura Mercier caviar stick, which I have put that in with my eyeliners. And then I have 3 liquid liners from Clinique. This category here is going to be boring because it is the same. This is my eye primers. I started with 4. I still have 4. I'm currently panning the oh goodness, the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly, and it's going to take a year and a half to get that done, but I'm making great progress. And so I'll pop up on the screen. I have my Milani eyeshadow primer, my NYX glitter glue, a eyeshadow base from Natasha Denona, and then I have my paint pot. Little fun fact with the glitter primer, I use it every single day for my shimmers because I have oily lids, and I opened up that tube on August 1st of last year, and I probably have more than half of that left. So one of those tubes, if you use it every day, you're going to get about 2 years worth of use out of that product. So I love it, and I will continue to purchase that. I'm going to skip over eyeshadows because that's my biggest category, and we'll save that to the end. And so I'm going to look at my moisturizers. So I started off the year with 4. I did purchase 1. I believe 1 came in my FabFitFun, so that gave me 5. I did pan 2 during the second quarter. I decluttered 1, but I decluttered it to another category. And then I did purchase another one, which again, another one came in a FabFitFun during the second quarter. So I'm rolling into the third quarter with 3 moisturizers. So I have my e.l.f. Holy Hydration. I love that product. I do have the Cloud Dew Gel Cream Moisturizer from Summer Fridays. Love that formula too. And then the most recent one that I got in a FabFitFun is the Laneige Water Bank. So these are the 3 moisturizers that I have in my collection right now. Next category is my daytime skincare. So at the beginning of the year, I had 12. And again, this is a category that I roll over a lot because again, I'm using my skincare every day. So I had 12 at the beginning of the year. I panned 3 during the first quarter and brought in 2. So that left me with 11 products. During the second quarter, I did pan 6 and I brought in 4. So right now I am sitting at 9. And I'll have to explain my photo. So I have my Tower 28 spray, which I'm actually really enjoying that right now in my daytime. And then I have my Innisfree Balancing Toner. Now, the products in the middle, that is the niacinamide serum, the caffeine serum, and then the 2 green tea serums. That is technically only 3 products because I put them all together and I have to separate them into 2 of the green tea serum bottles. So technically, that is only 3 products that we're counting there. And then I have the Good Molecules vitamin C powder, and I have 3 eye creams. I have one from Glow Oasis that came in a FabFitFun. The Ren one also came in a FabFitFun, and then I have the Sephora Firming Peptide Eye Cream. So right now, that is the base of my daytime skincare. Nighttime skincare is a little bit bigger of a category, and so I did have 14 at the beginning of the year. I panned 5 and brought in 4, so I ended up with 13 rolling into the second quarter. I did pan 4 and I brought in 5, so that category did go up as well, so I'm at 14. Looking at my picture, the Ultra Repair Cream used to be in my moisturizer category, but then I put it in my nighttime skincare. It's a little bit too heavy for me to use during the day, so I'd rather use it at night. So I did take the Ultra Repair Cream and the hyaluronic acid serum from The Ordinary, and I mixed it with some of the CeraVe healing ointment, and that's in that big tub. So that is my nighttime moisturizer that I just smear all over. Next to the Ordinary products, I have a marula oil in there, along with the lactic acid serum that I use in my body lotion for my KP. At the top, I have 2 tubes of the, and I always trip up on this name, alizarin acid. I know I said it wrong. My brain can't process it. But I have a prescription one that's a 15%, and then I have the Ordinary, which is a 10%. I do have a Paula's Choice peeling solution. Then I have 2 scrubs, one from Ole Henriksen and one from Murad. Down in the middle there, I do have a retinol kind of serum from Beekman. That did come in a FabFitFun. I haven't had to open it yet. At the very bottom, I have the Inkey List Collagen Peptide Serum. I have the, it's like a retinol AHA body care that came in the Sephora kit as well. I have a retinol serum from Sunday Riley, which that's my current retinol. I have the Paula's Choice BHA exfoliating liquid. I have the Fourth Ray BFD cleansing oil, and then my holy grail, which is the Clinique Take the Day Off balm. So I'm not using all of these together, but this is basically my stash of what I would consider my nighttime skincare. Let's look at hair care, and I realized in my tracking, I'm not tracking like hairspray or dry shampoo. To me, I mean, those are not necessarily like active products that I'm using. Those are just things that I might use every once in a while. So trust me, I do have some dry shampoo, I do have some hairsprays, things like that, but this is really just my products that I am focusing on regularly that are like treatments for my hair. So for my hair care, I did start out the beginning of the year with 15. I panned 5 and brought 2 in. A lot of times I'm getting high-end hair care from FabFitFun, so I love trying products that way. So I did go into the second quarter with 12 hair care products. I did pan 2 and I ended up purchasing 1, so that leaves me with 11. And if we look at the picture, we'll go ahead and see what 11 products I have. So looking at my picture, I do have the Living Proof Full Shampoo. This is something that came in a FabFitFun. I have the Ava NYC Main Magic 10-in-1 Primer. I have the Verb Ghost Prep. This is like a blowout cream. I have the Amika Dream Routine. It's like a overnight hydrating product. I have the Ava NYC Therapy Sessions Hair Mask. Down at the bottom, I do have the Ordinary Density Hair Serum stuff. I'm trying that out to see if I can get my hair to grow a little bit. I have the Verb Ghost Oil, the Dry Bar Pep Rally kind of detangling spray. I have the Olaplex number 8. I have a Verb Hydrating Shampoo, which that's the shampoo I'm going through right now. And then at the very end, I have the Ava NYC Main Magic 10-in-1 Split End Mender. So that's the hair care. That is the treatment type items that I have in my stash right now. All right, and now on to eyeshadow, my biggest category. So at the beginning of the year, I did have 60. I did declutter one palette, but I brought two in, so that brought me to 61. And then I did not pan or declutter any during the second quarter, and I brought two more palettes in, so I do have 63. Now I will say that that is not 63 palettes because I do have some singles and some um, liquid shadows that I count. And so looking at my first picture, I do have 13 of these single slash liquid shadows. I have 2 from Cover FX. I have 3 from Essence, which is their melted chrome formula. Then I have 8 from ColourPop that are the Super Shock shadows. Looking at the next photo, I do have my ColourPop palettes, and so I have the So Jaded. I have a custom purple palette. I have the It's My Pleasure, In a Trance, Sweet as Can Be, Give It to Me Straight, and then I have the Baby Yoda, the Mandalorian, and the C-3PO palettes as well. In the next picture, I have my Too Faced and my Pat McGrath. So I have my Chocolate Gold, my Pumpkin Spice, and my Just Peachy Mattes, along with the Mothership 9, which is the Utopian Dreams. I have the Bridgerton palette, and then also the Darth Vader palette from Pat McGrath. On the next picture, I have my 4 lethal palettes. So I have the Night Flower and the Wildflower, along with 2 custom palettes that I made on my own. I have Urban Decay and ABH here. So I have the Naked Ultraviolet, Naked Honey, Naked Wild West, and Naked Heat. I also have the Stone Vibe palette, along with the ABH Norvina and Sultry. In the next picture, I have my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. I have my palette of singles, which includes Sydney Grace, ColourPop, Makeup Geek, and some other one-off brands in there as well. I have my Sigma Corta Rosa palette, and then I have 4 from Viseart. I have the Theory palette in the colorway of Nuance. Then I have the Petite Apricot, the Rosé Edit, and the Paris Edit. Here I have some of my bigger palettes, so I have the Cosmic Brushes Muse palette and the Tati Beauty Volume 1. The last couple pictures are going to be my Natasha Denona palettes, and so we have Sunrise Love Bronze Glam, Retro Pastel, Zendo My Dream, and Retro Glam. Then I also have the Metropolis and the newest Yucca palette. Then my minis are Mini Gold, Mini Love, Mini Retro, and Mini Zendo. So those are my 63 eyeshadow items, products, whatever you want to call them. Those are my 63 that I have in my collection. So if we want to look at my numbers overall, at the beginning of the year, I had 241 items in my collection. I was able to pan 29 of them, I decluttered 3, and I brought in 16 items. So that allowed me to have a negative of 16 products in my collection. Rolling into April, accounting for those 16 items that I was able to decrease in my collection, I had a total of 225 items. I was able to pan 38 of them, and I decluttered 5. I did purchase more during the second quarter, so I purchased 24 items, but I still had a deficit of 18 items. So rolling into July, I do have a total of 206 items in my collection. So I am super thrilled with the way that my numbers are going. I love that I'm seeing that what I am using up is what I'm bringing in. I'm not bringing in an excess of items and then not being able to use anything up. I am so thrilled about that. I know I've said in some of my other buys and buys that especially my SPFs and my skincare, all of that stuff is from this year. So those are items that I am using up and continuously rotating through. So I'm super excited about where my collection is sitting right now. For next quarter, I'm probably going to tack my numbers on to the end of my buys and buys in, what would we be? We'd be July, August, September. So the buys and buys in October, I would tack this onto, and then I would do an end of year wrap up with my inventory and kind of my numbers over the years. But I did want to come in at the middle of the year and show my numbers, show my collection, since it's been a while since I've done a collection video as well. You guys get a sneak peek to what's in these drawers behind me and what makeup I am enjoying using. I hope that you enjoyed geeking out over the numbers and at least seeing my products up on screen. I encourage you to do all the things. Make sure to like this video, drop a comment down below. How are you doing on your inventory? Do you keep track of your items as diligently as I do? Let me know down below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you're notified when I upload, and I'll see you guys in my next one.